In the recovery room, her belly was inflating like a balloon. Find out why she needed to be rushed into emergency surgery immediately after having surgery, all because of what a nurse did. You want to learn the answer? Come join me for a moment as I share with you this fascinating story. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney practicing law here in the state of New York. This woman went in for a knee replacement surgery. She needed to have this done. And the doctor told her she needed to have this done. She trusted her doctor. So she goes ahead to a reputable hospital in New York City with a very good orthopedist who goes ahead and does this knee replacement surgery. And he writes an order. The patient is to go ahead and have a drain attached to her knee after the procedure in order to drain fluid, if any fluid is coming out after the surgery. And he expected the staff, the hospital staff, to go ahead and carry out his order. In fact, during the course of his surgery, at the end of it, he attached a drain to the patient's knee to allow for fluid to drain out. So the patient gets taken back to the recovery room, and by the way, the surgery goes great. There are no complications whatsoever. But about 15 minutes later, the patient is now complaining. In fact, she's screaming. This is a middle-aged woman. She's screaming in pain, and the nurse is recognizing that the patient's belly is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, almost like a watermelon. The nurse calls an orthopedic resident to come and evaluate her. And the orthopedic resident can't figure out what's going on. They call a surgical resident to come evaluate her. They can't figure out what's going on. But what everybody agrees is that her belly is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what do? They have no choice. They have to rush her into surgery emergently, put her back under anesthesia, and now, you know what the surgeon does? He takes a scalpel and he cuts right into her belly. And you know what they hear? Pshh, as if a balloon was deflating. And now, what's going through the surgeon's mind? I'll tell you what's going through and how I learned about this. The surgeon is thinking that maybe there's something going on in her belly causing a leak for air to come out. And where is that likely coming from? He thinks it's coming from somewhere in the bowel, that maybe the bowel tore apart and now there's air flowing into her belly. And the surgeon is searching. He's running the bowel, inspecting every inch of the bowel. And you know what? He can't find any leak whatsoever. In fact, there's nothing wrong with her abdomen at all. There's nothing wrong with anything inside of her belly. And he can't figure out why she had this problem. Why was her belly getting bigger, bigger, bigger? And why did all that air come out of her belly? Where was the air from? They couldn't figure it out. It was like a Sherlock Holmes mystery. So now they close the patient up, take her back to recovery, and they begin to ask questions. And they can't find the answers. They ask the nurse who was caring for her, what happened? They can't figure out what's going on. Until finally, one of the clues was what the doctor ordered originally with the drain. Remember, the knee replacement had a drain coming out of it. And there was an order that says this drain is to be attached to suction out any fluid that's coming out of the knee. And now they asked the nurse who was caring for her in the recovery room, tell us step by step exactly what you did from when the patient first rolled in here until you now called for help for an emergency. And this nurse took them step by step. And one of the doctors, the surgeon, said, hold it. Tell me what you did with that surgical drain. And she told him, I took the tubing, I attached it to the surgical drain, then I went over to the wall, to the outlet, and then I turned the knob on. And he said, show me. She showed him how she attached this tubing to the drain, and then how she attached it to the plug on the wall, and then which knob she turned in order to turn it on. Well, guess what? You know what the surgeon found out? This nurse did not attach the tubing to a suction device. What did she attach it to? She attached it to an oxygen output device, which means instead of sucking the fluid out, air was now being pumped into this tube, going where? The air was in a closed space. So now it was going into and under her skin, and it was inflating everything it possibly could, starting with the area, the compartment, where the drain was in her knee, and then it was going up the skin by her leg, up her leg, all the way up to her groin, all the way up to her belly. So air kept being pushed in and in and in into a closed space. That's why the surgeon heard the deflating of air the moment he cut into her abdomen. All of this was unnecessary. Why? If this nurse had followed hospital protocol, had followed standard procedure, she would have recognized, hey, You don't attach a suction device to an oxygen machine and then have air flowing into a closed space. So why do I share this quick story with you? I share it with you just to give you an example of one woman I was able to help in an instance where a hospital staff was careless and violated the basic standards of medical care. You know, I recognize and I acknowledge you're watching this video because you likely have questions or concerns about your own particular matter. Well, if your matter did happen here in New York and you're contemplating bringing a lawsuit, but you have questions that need answers first, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. You know, I do this every single day and I'd love to talk to you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.